All right. Good day, everybody, and welcome to Headline Hits with LW. It is September the 20th, Tuesday, September the 20th, 2022. A few things in the news today, but if you have not if you've not seen my new TikTok video that I put out yesterday about falling gas prices, you can find us on TikTok. You can find us on Truth Social. I put it on Twitter. I believe it's on Facebook as well, but you guys ought to check that out. You might get a good laugh out of it, just having a little bit of fun on TikTok. So check it out. Now, that being said, let's dive right into the news today. Some pretty scary stuff. So, this one here, I wanted to bring to your guys' attention. Transgender health group removes minimum age guidance for genital mutilation and chemical castration. So, catch this article in Breitbart. I read down through it. So basically, they're taking like ages 16, dropping them down to age 14, 15. They went from age 18 to 17. And a lot of the stuff, they're not needing parents' permission on a lot of this stuff. So I wanted you guys to be aware of this. This is what they're doing to our kids. They're allowing them to take puberty blockers. A lot of this stuff is irreversible. Once your child starts taking puberty blockers, it really messes things up. And then if they go into the surgeries where they have breast augmentation, they have facial features that they can do with plastic surgery. And of course, the plumbing downstairs, once they do that, there's no coming back. So this is something that none of these children have to be of the age of 18 to do. And a lot of it is in secret. They're hiding it from the parents. Just really, really concerning stuff out there, that's happening in America, in Great Britain, in Canada as well. These companies allowing children to come in and make these decisions without the permission of their parents, without them going through any kind of psychological evaluation or through counseling first. Hey, you walk through the door, you don't need but just one visit, and here's some puberty blockers. So pay attention to that, folks, in your area, because it's very, very concerning. Okay, so this one right here is in the headlines again. I found this disturbing because a majority of Democrats believe that there are tens of millions of dangerous MAGA Republicans. Now, remember, a short 2 weeks ago, Hitler himself, Joe Biden, went on the pulpit. You see the background. If you take that and align that with Hitler's speech, and I think it was, I don't know, 1933, 1939 or 40, something like that, looks very, very similar to him, Hitler's speech. Joe Biden went on record, basically saying that the MAGA movement, the Patriot movement, the conservative movement, MAGA Republicans were an enemy of the state. So most Democrats believe that there are tens of millions of dangerous MAGA Republicans, as a Harvard CAPS Harris poll released in September found. Their survey followed President Biden's angry speech in which he demonized millions of Americans, deeming MAGA Republicans as a great threat to the very foundation of our republic, which is one of the first times I've ever heard one of these nasty politicians ever refer to America as a republic. Most of the time, they refer to it as a democracy, which we know democracy is mob rule, and a democracy is just a footnote and a catapult into socialism, which a lot of us already feel that we're already in a soft socialist country as it is, and then socialism takes us right into full-blown communism. So the poll asked voters, do you think that there are tens of millions of dangerous MAGA Republicans backing violence and trying to overthrow the Constitution, or is that just a gross exaggeration and distortion? Well, here's what some of them said. While a majority across the board, 54%, said that characterization is a gross exaggeration, 46% believe that there are, in fact, tens of millions of dangerous MAGA Republicans. But what is more, nearly three-quarters of Democrats, 73%, tend to believe that Biden's divisive rhetoric, uh, concluding that there are literally tens of millions of dangerous MAGA Republicans who are overtly backing violence and trying to overthrow the Constitution. 42% of independents agree that the majority of Democrats, and as do 20% of Republicans. So 20% of Republicans believe that. The survey was taken September 7th and 8th of 2022 among 1,885 registered voters and follows Biden's angry speech of September 1, where he stated that Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundation of our republic. Now, listen to what else they say here. Um, and here, in my view, is what is true. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. These are the words of the resident Joe Biden. The MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. That is a blatant lie. Okay. The MAGA Republicans, conservatives, Republicans, Trump supporters, we believe in the Constitution. We will not let them define us. We will not let them label us. We believe in the Constitution. And in the Constitution, the left, the party of the left, and the current Biden administration is not following the Constitution. So there is a stark difference between MAGA Republicans who do believe in not only following the Constitution, but protecting our constitutional rights. Who's always trying to take the Second Amendment from us? It's not the Republicans. It's not the MAGA Republicans. It's the left. It's the Democrats. They want more gun control. Here's something else that he made mention in his speech. They do not believe in the rule of law. Okay, again, an absolute farce, an absolute lie, bold-faced lie from Joe Biden. The Republican Party, the MAGA Republicans, the Conservative Party believes in the rule of law. This is a nation built on a rule of law. We follow the rule of law. Who does not follow the rule of law? The left. When they have the summer of 2020, which was lawless, they burned buildings to the ground. They tore and burned mom and pop shops to the ground. They brutally attacked civilians and walking down the sidewalk and beat them, and some of them lost their lives. They overtook police precincts. This is the left. This is BLM. This is Antifa. Kamala Harris herself also went out and helped bail these people out of jail. So who is the one that does not believe in the rule of law? It's not the MAGA Republicans. It's the left. So I wanted to point that out for you guys today. Check that out. Now, this right here is very disturbing. California, and this is just more than California for you guys to know. A private school teacher calls whiteness poison, fosters racially stressful encounters. What's this about? I read the entire article. You can catch it in Breitbart. I have some links for you that I'm going to pull up. But this school teacher in a private elite school in California in the Pacific Palisades called whiteness poison and pledged to expose white students to racially stressful encounters in a letter obtained exclusively by Breitbart. So Victoria Rosenberg, who teaches middle school English at the NAIS affiliated St. Matthew's Parish School, began her letter on critical race theory, and she sent this out to all the teachers. And this link, the National Anti-Racism Teach-In, is what she supports. And this affiliation talks about, in the letter, they titled it Dismantling White Supremacy in the Independent Schools, and praised the conference for posting the topic, what it means to be anti-racist and how whiteness has dominated our lives. Now, this is the junk that's being put and the propaganda that is being spewed and taught not only in our public schools, but in your private schools, people. The middle school's teacher celebrates the NART conference specifically for their discussion of the efforts of whiteness and implicit bias and racist practices in the sphere of education. In her letter to the parents, Rosenberg urges that parents and teachers have all been are socialized with the same poison of whiteness. She also advocates for the integration of anti-racist teaching into all subjects at all grade levels on the bias that it will give white students more exposure to the racially stressful encounter. So here's the link. Here's a screenshot of the letter that she sent to the parents here, and that's what it says in the letter. She refers to doctors. She refers to Project 1619. Here is another link to the organization right here. The National Anti-Racism Teach-In 2022 National Anti-Racism Teach-In Teen Experience, August 5th of 2022 for general admission. And then the conference was August the 10th through the 11th. So they're exposing our children to this. These are some of the people that were keynote speakers there. The Anti-Racism Teach-In is a national anti-racist conference and global movement designed to identify, analyze, and challenge racism and white supremacy. Look at some of the people that help fund this. Champion for Change. These are the people that are tied to this organization. I'm going to show you guys all these people. David Rockefeller Fund. If you go in and dive into these companies, these facilities, you're going to find that they are supported by BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. So all of this money going to these public schools, all these money going to these private schools, and you guys, not you guys, but the people that fund these organizations right here, it all trickles down to Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. We've talked about it many, many times here at LWN about fighting against this stuff and getting in the fight. That's why I created LWNfliptheswitch.com. You guys can go there, check out more information. You can sign up and get emailed from us and phone calls to figure out how you can get in the fight financially, which is taking money from these guys and spending your money wisely at Patriot-owned businesses, because these guys all right here are involved in all this stuff. Project 1619, CTR. I just reported yesterday where Bill Clinton made a statement saying that the MAGA Republicans take CTR and blow it way out of proportion. It's not being taught in any of the schools across the nation. Well, I just proved to you, there's your receipt right there. It is being taught in schools across the nation, not only just this one school, but this school right here is tied to 2,000 schools across the nation. If you read further into this article right here, it states that this is tied to 2,000 other schools across the nation. This is a cost of nearly $40,000 a year for a 7th and 8th grade student to go to this private school. And right here it says, which accredits nearly 2,000 private schools across the country right there. So when Bill Clinton comes out and says, move on, folks, nothing to see here. The Republicans are making this out to be a lot more than what it truly is. None of this critical race theory is being taught in our schools. There you have it. He's a liar. The Clinton family is a liar. They're corrupt. The Biden family is corrupt. The Obama family is corrupt. The Bush family is corrupt. They're all corrupt, folks. All right, let's watch Jesse Waters in action with Kevin McCarthy. I'm not a big fan of Kevin McCarthy. He believes he's going to be the next Speaker of the House. I believe he is another rhino. I believe he is another person that we need to focus on hard to get voted out of office and to get real conservatives, real America first back in the office. But McCarthy on the White House walkback that Biden made comment on Taiwan. Why are they putting him out there? And is he really making these policies? Let's listen to what they have to say.
McCarthy is the House Minority Leader, soon to be Speaker, who joins me now. So you're looking at that interview. What's going through your mind?
Well, I'm wondering what's going through the big guy's mind, because think about how he answered. He thought inflation meant nothing. You know what 8.3% that he argued about? That's an entire month's wages. So what he just did to every family in America, he took one complete month away from you. So now you've got to pay for everything with only making 11 months. And he thought it didn't move very much. He didn't talk about the border. What has he done since he's been in office? Almost 3.6 million people have come across that border. That's more than 3 times the size of a state as Delaware. He is so out of touch. Didn't talk about crime and thought he had done a really good job. In what way? He's created these problems and he has no plan to fix them.
When you hear him say, I don't really know if I'm going to run again, does that factor into your calculation as the leader of House Republicans?
Look, what factors into my calculation is we've got to put a plan out for a new direction in this country. That's what we're going to do Friday with the commitment to America. Because think about it. You've got inflation created by the Democrats' policy of their renewing of America, where they only Democrats pass for it. Even Steve Ratner, the Democrat advisor to Obama, calls it the original sin of inflation. Why is crime at a 20-year high? Because they defunded the police and they elect these prosecutors who don't hold the law. They've opened up the border where now fentanyl is the #1 killer to those 18 to 45. So every single day in America, a complete airliner crashes with poisoning Americans. That's the equivalency of what he has done.
Does it make you nervous, Kevin McCarthy, when the White House is constantly walking back the commander-in-chief, clarifying what the president has to say? Like, what he tells you isn't really the policy of the U.S. government. Does that worry you at all?
It worries a great deal, because who is it then? And what is more concerning, not just to America, but what does it say to the rest of the nations? He can't send a clear message. But this isn't the first time he's done this. Almost every time he's talked about China and Taiwan, the White House has walked it back. But look at for the last 40 years, even Secretary Gates said every decision he has made in the foreign policy has been wrong. But what does that mean? It cost us 13 Gold Star families because of the decisions he made in Afghanistan instead of listening to his family. It worries me as an American, but it worries me more so for the nation as a whole. What is he doing, the problems he is causing, and what he is saying? Why?
Primary Joe Biden as a fake Democrat. I hope I can count on your support.
I think there's going to be a lot of people running against him.
Okay, we'll see about that. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, so there you have it. Jesse Waters, Kevin McCarthy, calling Biden out for what Biden really is. He's a fake, and he has no clue what he's doing, and his policies are killing America. So that brings me to this one right here. This is very, very concerning. I want you guys to be aware of what we're talking about here. So Biden signs death warrant for the U.S. dollar. You guys, I hope would share this video out everywhere you possibly can, just for this one article, because I want you guys to be aware of what we're talking about. So this content was sponsored by the Paradigm Press. So on March 9th, 2022, this year, March 9th of 2022, President Joe Biden, Resident Joe Biden, whatever you'd like to call the guy, quietly signed Executive Order 14067. Look that up. Executive Order 14067. Buried inside the order is a sinister provision that could give the government unprecedented control over your money and freedom. So, in fact, this provision sets the stage for, and here's the 3 top points: legal government surveillance on all U.S. civilians. Now, I realize the Patriot Act does that. They've been surveillance on us for a long, long time. This isn't anything real new, but he signed this executive order, and it's concerning to me. The other thing that it does is total control over your bank accounts and your purchases. So if they usher in this new digital currency for the Great Reset, the capability that they will have, and I've talked about this the other day, is if your social credit score, which they're also ushering in or trying to, and we're fighting it, yes, we're fighting all of this. A guy like me putting out information like this, my social credit score would be pretty low. I wouldn't be able to access my money, which means I wouldn't be able to purchase anything. What is this leading up to? Who knows? Maybe the mark of the beast, right? It also gives them the ability to silence all dissenting voices for good, meaning mine, meaning yours, meaning any other truther out there putting out the information. This is something that Fox News recently called a very deeply troubling development. Still, most Americans have never heard of the Executive Order 14067. That's why I need you guys to share this video out. Tell your family, tell your friends. This is something that we need to really pay attention to because they are going to collapse the Western dollar, the US dollar. It's going bye bye. And I really want you guys to pay attention to that. We've been talking about it. Prepare for what's coming. If you guys are in the business of wanting to get your hands on some gold and silver, info at milesfranklin.com, promo code Liberty Warrior Nation. Because when the US dollar collapses, I know a lot of people say, well, I can't eat silver. No, you can't, but you could buy some food with silver. So yeah, actually you can eat silver because it could purchase the things that you may need that you don't have. So that is just an idiotic um, comment to be frank. Um, should everybody have a gold and silver? I think everybody should have what they can afford to have. And yes, you should stock up on diapers. You should stock up on baby formula. If you have children, should stock up on food and water, a second source of electricity. Those are the things and commodities that when the US dollar collapses, that we can barter with, that we can trade with. If you're not a smoker, go buy a couple of cartons of cigarettes. You'll be able to use that to barter when the US dollar collapses. They're signing these executive orders and pushing the Great Reset, folks. I'm simply just trying to tell you guys, protect yourself and protect your family. Info at milesfranklin.com, promo code Liberty Warrior Nation. Get your hand on a couple of silver coins, a couple of gold coins. It's not going to hurt you. And yes, you can eat them if you had to purchase eggs, chickens, beef, groceries. What a dumb comment that was. So let's hit the next headline here. Jim Jordan, FBI cooked the books on J6. Let's listen to Tucker Carlson.
So during his famous Red speech a couple of weeks ago, Joe Biden labeled his political opponents domestic extremists, terrorists who threaten the existence of our nation. Now, you may have written off that claim as the rantings of a doddering old fool, but this is the President of the United States with the full mechanics of the largest bureaucracy in the history of the world behind him. So now the FBI is working hard to bolster those false claims. It's opened domestic terrorism investigations all over the country, most of them against innocent people. Now we have proof that many of these investigations are entirely fraudulent. They're political. This is so wrong. It should not be happening. Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio just sent a letter to the FBI director, Christopher Wray, who should be ashamed of himself, outlining the evidence. The evidence comes from a whistleblower within the FBI. According to that whistleblower, the FBI is breaking its own procedures to create the illusion that new domestic extremism cases are popping up all over the United States. In reality, virtually all of these cases are about January 6th, which was a nonviolent election justice protest and covered, of course, by the Constitution of the United States, excluding the people who committed vandalism, but you have a right to assemble if you want. So the FBI's Washington office is overseeing these investigations, these domestic extremist investigations. The whistleblower said that, quote, the manipulative case file practice creates false and misleading crime statistics. Instead of hundreds of investigations stemming from a single black swan incident at the Capitol, January 6th, FBI and DOJ officials point to significant increases in domestic extremism and terrorism around the United States. So they're lying with numbers, just like they did under Corona. This is fraud. And now it's occupying a huge percentage of the FBI's time at the very moment we said 2 million people whose identities we can't verify waltz into our country. Now, the whistleblower says he was told that, quote, child sexual abuse material investigations were no longer an FBI priority and should be referred to local law enforcement agencies. Oh, germane to the last subject we addressed in the open tonight. You'll notice they're downplaying the importance of child sex crimes. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we reached out to the FBI for comment, and a spokesman told us, quote, the threat posed by domestic violent extremists is persistent, evolving, and deadly, end quote. Of course, they can't point to any deadliness. Ashley Babbitt, oh, wait, she was killed. Congressman Jim Jordan represents Ohio and is the member of Congress who has these documents. Congressman, we really appreciate your coming on and telling us about this.
Thank you. You bet.
So how do you assess what the whistleblower has told you?
Well, we think he's being straightforward. We think he's as honest. We think he's a brave guy for coming forward. And I think the way I view it in my mind is, Tucker, they're juicing the numbers and they're cooking the books. And they're so focused on this, they're willing to pull agents from child trafficking cases to foster this narrative that you talked about, that Joe Biden in front of Independence Hall with the red background, clenched fist, talking about half the country being extremists. So remember, we've had previous whistleblowers who came to us and said that they were being pressured to label cases as domestic violent extremism. This whistleblower came forward and talked to us about how they're cooking the books, making the numbers, seeing that there are cases all over the country, when in fact they're all related to January 6th. And now what's happened today, we learned that this newest whistleblower has been suspended from his job. So there's retaliation going against this guy for coming forward and telling us what's going on.
So the administration is doing this because there's really no one to push back. I mean, corporate America is completely on their side, the entertainment business, the media, and of course the entire Congress. If Democrats think they're going to win both houses, keep both houses, they just announced today, we're going to keep both houses. Yeah. If that were to happen, well, I hope it doesn't, of course, but if it were to happen, it feels like they would double down and start putting a lot of people in jail.
No, that's why this election in 50 days, Tucker, is so darn important. The way you send a message is put Republicans in charge, and then what we have to do is get tough. We got to be committed to getting the truth to the American people. We got to be committed to any and every remedy we can come up. Nothing should be off the table when it comes to reining in a political justice department, which everyone knows is now the case. I mean, think about the last 6 weeks. Joe Biden raided the home of a former.
All right. Jim Jordan, one of my favorites, but I disagree with one thing, putting Republicans back in charge, and they're going to get tough. Yeah, I don't want the Democrats in power, and we need tougher stuff. That's for sure. But anyway, something that you guys should be aware of. All right, here's your fact check for today. 13 true facts from the film My Son Hunter. Let's read down through them real quick. Number one, Hunter Biden took Hunter Biden took $5 million in a deal with a Chinese business associate, Patrick Ho, who he referred to as the effing spy chief of China, in recording on his abandoned laptop. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Hunter Biden inked a $1.5 billion deal with a subsidiary of the Bank of China just 12 days after the visit of China with his father, then Vice President Joe Biden. Number three, Hunter Biden received $3.5 million from Moscow from an unknown source. Number four, Hunter Biden sat on the board of the Ukrainian energy company Burmista while his then Vice President father was in charge of U.S. policy toward the Ukraine. Hunter Biden took a salary of $83,000 per month from his seat on the board of the Ukrainian energy company Burmista. Joe Biden threatened to withhold $1 billion from Ukraine to protect Ukrainian energy company Burmista. While Hunter was on the board, Hunter Biden was gifted a 3-carat $80,000 diamond by the CEFC Chinese energy company partner that he was part of. Hunter Biden partnered with Chinese military link company. Number 9, Hunter Biden refused, Hunter Biden referred to Joe Biden using all kinds of different business communications with him. And of course, they lied and said there was none. Hunter Biden invested in Chinese companies producing surveillance technology. That's number 10. Hunter Biden's laptop is in the FBI possession. And Hunter Biden was kicked out of the Navy for cocaine use. And number 13, Hunter Biden illegally obtained a firearm by lying to the ATF on the forms about his drug use. So there you have it, folks. There's your 13 fact checks for today. Thanks for joining us. And I'm going to be back this evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for The Big Show. Love y'all.